I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, and we're going to focus on verses 1 through 3. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of our God's vengeance, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, festive oil instead of mourning, and splendid clothes instead of despair. And they will be called righteous trees, planted by the Lord to glorify Him. So in today's chapter, the covenant is referred to as an everlasting covenant. Isaiah has mentioned it before in chapter 55. Jeremiah and Ezekiel also use the same phrase, and they call it the new covenant, in Hebrew, Berit Hadashah. Jeremiah 31, verses 31 through 34. Look, the days are coming. This is the Lord's declaration when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. And this one will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant they broke, even though I had married them, the Lord's declaration. Instead, this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days, the Lord's declaration. I will place my instruction within them and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. And no longer will one teach his neighbor or his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they will all know me, from the least to the greatest of them, the Lord's declaration. For I will forgive their wrongdoing and never again remember their sin. Now notice that he keeps saying over and over, the Lord's declaration. The Lord, he's basically, hey, listen, bro, this is not my opinion. This is the truth of God's word. It's important to note that what we refer to as the New Testament is translated in Hebrew as I said, Berit Hadashah, the new covenant. So when you have the New Testament, the Hebrew mindset of the early church was, oh, well, this is the new covenant that Jeremiah was speaking of. Now, the close connection between the everlasting covenant and the new covenant in today's chapter reminds us that the newness of the new covenant is the quality of freshness and fulfillment. It's not that God has abandoned what He had been doing with Israel in the old, and then He begins afresh with the church in the new. Instead, He brings to the forefront what had been done there all along in the old, and yet was not rightly understood before Jesus brought context and clarity to it. He's not dumping the Old Testament saying, oh, you don't have to read that anymore, just read this new book. Several features of the everlasting or the new covenant are underlined in today's chapter. Together, they lead to the conclusion that all who believe in the Messiah, Jesus, and all who follow Him by faith alone, they are a people whom the Lord has blessed. Luke chapter 22, verse 20, Jesus took the Passover cup and He said, This is the cup of the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. He's referencing this new covenant. At the Last Supper, Jesus declared Himself and His ministry to be the consummation of a historical process of prediction and preparation. He saw today's passage as a crucial one in setting the terms and the mandate of His own mission. Following His baptism and temptation in the wilderness, Jesus entered into His hometown synagogue where, armed with Isaiah 58, verse 6, He declared Himself as the one who is the fulfillment of today's passage. And strangely, these bold words were not what made the people of His hometown synagogue want to kill Jesus. It was His recalling to their memory how God had shown mercy to faithful Gentiles in the past, while withholding mercy to unfaithful Israel. Now, for that, they want to kill him. Why? Because salvation is not by DNA. It never has been. Salvation is by grace through faith in him, and it is anyone from any nationality throughout history who would put their faith in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will be saved. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people just like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. You know, another way to help is just tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Hey, you ever heard of Groundworks Ministries? That's how it works. You can share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.